Fill me in on your wildest moments. Colored trees, your yellow leaves move me. Dancing roofs, your painted red shakes the room. When I get there, I'll let my feet roll. When I get there, I'll break in your arms, I'll lose control. When I get there.
Hey everybody, this is Overpass Live. My name's Eric. I make apps. This is our weekly live stream. Oh, the wrong stupid camera. This is our weekly live stream where we talk about whatever we want to talk about. Why do you do that? All right, so already we got a bit of technical difficulties here. So this is our weekly live stream. We talk about whatever we want to talk about. Now, this is something I've been wanting to ask you guys. Do you think we should come up with a topic for these live streams? Because one of the reasons why I haven't come up with like a set topic every week to talk about is because then we can't just answer whatever questions we want to and just go completely off script, right? And I don't like the rigid nature of it. That's why we have the daily videos, or what used to be the daily videos. That's why we have Overpass Insights to talk about things in particular. But I thought I'd ask you guys about it because, to be honest with you, kind of feels like I'm just phoning it in every week. I feel a bit lazy about it. So anyway, I hope you guys had a fantastic week. It's like pouring down rain at the moment. All of a sudden, just before the live stream, started pouring down rain. First of all, can you guys hear me okay? Let me just make sure you guys can hear me all right. All of a sudden, it just started pouring down rain, which was just kind of cool. I kind of wish that I could show the outside without having to mess everything around with the settings and everything. But so this week has been a good week. For me, it's been very, very busy, just catching up with for some reason, and I mentioned this on the videos before, the client work is just really starting to ramp up. And we're getting a lot of stuff come in, which is good, but then it's also, how do we keep things, and then it becomes the logistics of it. Like, we got so used to scaling things back. Now, how do we scale things up a bit? Or do we just start saying, sorry, we're overbooked and we can't take on new projects, which is a good situation to be in. In terms of my own applications, I haven't done anything. I've noticed that the revenue seems to be really low this week. Yeah, that's it. I mean, really. But and then next week, I think it's next Friday or the Friday after, we've got WWDC, which is for those guys who are not used to these kind of things. Oh, why does the camera keep switching on me? Let's see. All right, let's just take that away. So yeah, WWDC is the developer conference for Apple. So usually every year we have the WWDC, where we check out the new announcements for the Apple side of things, and we also get Google I/O on the Google side of things. So that's next week. That's next week at 6 o'clock. So next week will be like a 1 hour live stream, and this week maybe we could give it to an hour too. So anyway, let's just see who's here. And anyway, I'm glad you guys made it. I'm glad you guys could show up. Multi-Alex says, hey Eric, my app has almost 5,000 impressions, but only makes, we say 5,000 impressions, we mean 5,000 downloads, but only makes 5 cents a day. And another app with around 600 impressions is making about $1 a day. Why is it? This would be going back to what it's doing in terms of monetization strategy. I mean, what is it you're doing? Are you doing entirely ads? Are we talking about ad mob revenue? Are we talking about other ad networks? And if so, we're talking about banners or interstitials. What's the frequency? Because that's really what we want to talk about in terms of that goes. Shebas says, hey Eric, hey Shebas. Is there a good alternative to ad mediation service other than Deal? I am looking for ad mediation services to support a good number of mobile advertisers, including AdMob. Yeah, MobFox used to be one of the big ones. Deal, I don't like Deal. I mean, I just don't. And they may have changed it recently. I know they've gone through a lot of changes. But like when I first did it, you had to like install a Chrome extension. It went through your AdMob. It just did all this kind of stuff. And it's just something I didn't quite like about Deal. But you have other media. I mean, AdMob has mediation, but so you could add other networks in there. Baraka, happy Friday, app gangsters. Happy Friday, bud. App gangsters. I always wonder, like, if it's like gangsters, like gangsters, like The Godfather. If it's like gangsters, like I don't know. Let's see. Ayush Pai apps. Hey, Ayush says, hey, Eric, I released a new app on June 4th called iPhone Calculator. It's doing really well and already Today it has it's hit 100 downloads and getting 30 to 40 downloads per day and increasing steadily. Fantastic. They release it. I assume you release it on iPhone, right? Or is that like an Android thing? Because it's a clever name. However, no one is upgrading to the Pro version. Can you check it out? Yeah, let's have a look. So, okay, let's see. iPhone calculator. Yeah, we're talking about on. I don't know. I got some sort of funny setting going on here with my cameras. All right, so all right. See this one. This is why we have these problems. Okay, let's see. I think my camera might just start failing on me. Oh man, I'm gonna be looking down at you guys. All right, let's. This is stupid. All right, so let's have a look at this. So we're talking about iPhone calculator. Let me share my screen. Might as well because we got this weird thing going on. Look at the iPhone calculator. Apps on. Oh, you did do it on Google Play. Clever. All right. Exact same as the iOS 13 calculator. I mean, I wonder if they could get you for copyright on this. So you've got 100 downloads. I mean, my question to you, Ayush, would be, what are your in-app purchases? Let's come back to this one. I just want to say hello to everybody. Shivam, hey, how's it going? What's wrong with your face? What's wrong with my face? I was born with this thing. What are you talking about? Dude, I've got this. Again, now I've got you guys up close here. Let me just see if I can figure out this camera thing. I want to unplug it and plug it back in. So what's wrong with my face? It's a good question. Reasonable question. So my face is. I have a sty in my eye, and every so often I'll get these kind of things, which is like really annoying. All right, let's try that one more time. There we go. All right, so let's see. Let's go back to this. FD says, "What's wrong with your face?" I've got a sty. Every so often I'll get them. I'll get them in the videos. It's really annoying when you do the videos all the time, which is one of the reasons why I haven't done a video this week, is because I got this thing in my eye. It goes away after a while. I put every so often I'll get it for like 3 weeks. There's been times where I've done the daily overpass and I've had them and people have mentioned them. But if that's what it is. Unless you're talking about just generally my face, then, well, no excuse. Let's see, top video, happy Friday, Eric, happy Friday, top video. Dynamic apps, hey, how's it going? Mr. Beast says, I love your videos. My name is Mr. Beast and I make apps. Fantastic. Cool. Let's see, don't give me that stink eye. Dude, you could tell my stink eye? Yeah, I know, all of a sudden it's one of these things. Yes, I kind of like, it's not, nice thing about lockdown is that nobody sees it, right? I'm just like in here, but that was one of the reasons I haven't done Instagram stories this week, is because I have this sty in my eye. It's a bit annoying. It's very annoying. I'm on Sexena. Hey Eric, how are you? I'm doing good. Apavelli, happy Friday, Apavelli. Morandir, hello. 404 says no topic. Okay, we're not gonna do any topics. We're just gonna go in and wing it, right? We're gonna just completely, right? We're gonna do it like we're gonna treat this live stream like I treated almost every class I took in high school. I'm just gonna go in and just wing it, right? No preparation. Actually, don't tell my kids that. Let's see. Kayed Marino, hey, how's it going? Hey, Eric, dynamic apps. No topic. Let's keep it open. No topic, please. We should come up with a topic. Appavelli says, but keep the discussion open. And maybe we should. Like I was thinking, next week is going to be WWDC, and I'm hoping that something really cool comes out of there, right? Like in the past, we've learned about Apple Pencil and other types of things. Let's see. Thamer K says, how hard is it to fully redesign an existing Flutter app UI and why? It's not that difficult because most of the time, and yeah, thanks. I need to get back to you on this. Um, yeah, a lot of times when you're reskinning something, you really just change, like you keep the images in there and then you just change the images, but you keep the same name. Try to keep the same dimensions, and then sometimes that can mean like let's say you have a square image within an app and you want to put in you want to put in something that's a bit more rectangular, then you might just have to put a lot of transparency in the image. Although, or you could just do a little bit of code and just readjust some stuff. But no, it's not that difficult to do. Let's go back and answer some of these questions up here, because I didn't. Let's see. Shabba says, I created an account in Apple, but I'm unable to log in. I keep getting your account is on moderation message while trying to log in. That's why I want to try another mediation service. Yeah, I mean, there's other ones out there. It's more like the other mediation services that I've used were more like they didn't control the other networks. You still had to set up other networks, and you had to include the SDKs within the applications. And for a while, there was this thing called SDK-less mediation networks, where you didn't even have to include the SDKs within your applications. But none of them did very well, right? So, and be careful about all the different networks you use, because you still need to be compliant with Google Play policies and everything. Dynamic App says, have you taken any measures to prevent piracy on Android? If so, what have you done? My app pricing model is freemium, by the way. So, in terms of piracy, no. There was on one of my big apps, there was like a video of somebody who did. It was like showing you how to crack it, right? And it was like I probably could have got it removed, but I was so impressed with this kid having done it, and I thought it didn't have a lot of views on it, right? And sometimes you see it on Pirate Bay or whatever, or some other BitTorrent sites. If they're still around, but this was like a while ago. And to be honest with me, it didn't bother me that much, because some people were going to discover it that way, right? As long as other people did. And then you could always release an update. I mean, the more frequently you release updates, then it's going to be the harder for them to make those things available all the time, right? Use ProGuard, check the Google Play libraries, do any validation that you need to, But no, in terms of, let's talk about piracy here for a second, because, this is one of the things. Somebody mentioned to me last week about the EarSpy clones, and I just went and had a look at it. And there's so many out there that use the exact same description that I used back in the day. The icon is the same, it's similar. I mean, sometimes there was a time where every week I was going through and then reporting copycat apps, right? It was just like, but then I had to just, and then in the end, those still exist, but mine has been taken down, right? This is one of the things where it's the unfairness of the Google Play when it comes to their algorithm. Sometimes it's just ridiculous. So I'll even try to appeal it, saying you let these other apps are still on there, but mine has been taken down. But of course, that's no excuse, because they'll get to those ones eventually, presumably. Let's see. Phil J says, regarding topics, check out Pat Flynn's live stream. He does a good job about themes. He also gives himself a rest with Ask Me Anything. I think it's an interesting idea. Yeah, I think maybe we should do that. Like, a lot of the times I'm thinking about a topic for the Overpass Insights, and then I'll go out and I'll film it, and then maybe I'll forget to mention something, or it's just sort of like a little bit of a ramble. And if we're going to ramble, we might as well do it live, so we can talk about things, talk about things here. But I mean, that's something I've been thinking about. Thanks, Phil. Let's see. Aman Saxena says, does your revenue got affected because of Corona? If yes, how much? Yeah, it has. But mine was, again, I've talked about this before. My whole account was suspended like a few weeks before. So like my app revenue went from wherever it was, like 30 pounds a day down to zero, and then it was kind of creeping back up again. So it was like it took a while to get all the apps back. So I can't really tell if it's because of the suspension or because of that. But like my daily revenue is a bit lower. I'm happy to show it to you guys if you want to see it. Just let me know. Let's see. Top video, how to protect your app from reverse engineering. So are you talking about decompilation and reverse engineering it that way, or just black boxing it? I don't know how you can protect it from black boxing it. Like that's what all the clones are out there for. But ProGuard should be the kind of thing that should prevent it, or at least it should prevent it from being decompiled. And one of my problems with Ionic was, and I know that a lot of times I'll have clients come to me and they say, okay, we've got this app that's out there. The developer went crazy or disappeared or whatever. We don't have the source code. Is there anything you could do with it? The first thing I'll do is go to APK tool or APK loader. Forget what it is. I'll download the APK, change the file extension to from APK to .zip, and then you can just unzip it. And if it's an Ionic, especially an Ionic version 1, you can just go through and the source code is right there, unencrypted. You can just go ahead and use it. Now, if you're doing it with another application, you usually, you can't get to that kind of stuff. I know there's tools out there that do it, but you can at least get to the image assets and stuff, which I've done that before too. Let's see. Sheepdog says, can you try and find my app Geo on the Google Play Store? All right, let's try that. Now that we got this stupid camera working again. All right, so we're going to have a look at this. It's called Geo. Boy, I was nervous about my the sty in my eye, and the fact you guys picked up on it right away now makes me think I have every reason to be. So what is it? So it's just called Geo. Ooh, okay. Let's remove the "what's wrong with your face" from the screen, shall we? We don't need that on there. Okay. So this will be Geo by Sheepdog. Is your name Sheepdog on here? Sheepdog. I'm sweating like a pig over here. Not because it's warm. I think it's because all of a sudden I got nervous when I realized the camera wasn't working. Like, you have technical difficulties. If you guys have you guys ever done a? I know I'm going off on a tangent while I'm looking for this. But have you guys ever gone and done a demo, and then you had technical difficulties in the demo for your clients or something, and then all of a sudden you just start going, you start sweating. Geocaching, Geo. Sheepdog, can you tell me what this? If it's one of these apps on here, if you're still here. I don't know, you might be, so yeah, if you're still here, let me know if this is it. Or if you're over on the other live stream, having him look at it, then that's cool too. Let's see. I just want to make sure I have the right one. Okay, it's again. Fist007, hey, how's it going? Xamarin's going well. I know you're going to ask about that every week. Sorry, my monitor's shaking. I use Pi apps. Yeah, I thought that looked pretty cool. But it's iPhone calculator on the Play Store. Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's Alexander Robleski says, "Hi Eric, I just got my first client. He needs social media app built. How do you take payments from clients? Do you take upfront payments or buy milestones?" So here's something that I've done, and we've tried lots of different stuff on this. It was really, it's a really good question, Alejandro. So it used to be my payment schedule at the beginning was 25% up front, 25% at the end of development, and then 50% at the end of testing and go live, with the 30-day warranty period. Now the problem with that was that so at least you get something up front, and they get some skin in the game, right? I think. My personal opinion, you should always get some money up front, right? Otherwise, it's too easy. You're investing your time in it. They're investing it in. If you're not, you're actually extending them a line of credit. Like, you're doing the work based on the fact that they're gonna pay you, right? So you're actually doing that, and you need to get something up front, right? Not because it's not a trust issue. It's just a being smart issue, right? If all goes well, everything should go fine. But if they get hit by a bus, then you're just, you've done all this work for nothing. And so you should do that. And then we went to 50-50%, 50% up front, 50% at the end, which is a lot less imaginative, and it's a huge chunk of change at the beginning. So a lot of times we've lost jobs because of that. And we still do that sometimes. I still, a lot of times I'll still do the 50-50 just because it's just easier to do. We don't need to worry about the milestones and stuff. And there have been times where I've kind of worked out the milestones like over a longer period of time. So like, I think it was 10% up front, 15% at the end of the specification and design phase, 30% at the end of the development phase, and then whatever. But then that was a case where you had like, when you go live, you have like a much smaller payment. Right? My developers that I work with, they do 30% up front, 40% out at the 50% mark, and 40%. I think it's 40% at the end. So like a lot of times different one, but yeah, I definitely think you should. If you base it on milestones, then it gives you a lot more going forward. Here's the problem with 50-50, right? And it's a huge problem, is that's a huge payment for them to make at the end too, so they kind of push back the go live date, right? Even if everything's done, that's when scope creep comes in. That's when it's like, well, it is a lot of money. I need to make sure that it's perfect, and then you keep going. Whereas if you do it based on milestones, then you don't move to the next stage until the payment's done for that previous stage, right? It's in their best interest to get that done and to sign off on that, right? I've had a lot of time. You'll see this. You'll experience this a lot. I mean, I definitely have. When you bring on a client, you need to make sure that they know what they want in the beginning. And by the way, they're not going to know what they know, but you're going to say they need to agree with what you're going to do at the beginning, and don't go into a project with we'll figure that out as we go. Right? I've done that too many times. I mean, and I know it sounds naive to go through it, but sometimes you need the project, you need the money, you need the stuff coming in, right? So you agree to stuff, even though it's still a little bit vague, because you figured, well, it's enough money that we can get to it, but then you got all this changing stuff. One of the worst things to hear, and I hear this a lot. God, I hear this a lot. It's making me so ill. I have styes in my eye. The worst thing you could hear is, oh, but we discussed that in a meeting, right? Because what's in the you need to make sure when you write the specification, if it's not in the spec, it hasn't been agreed to. It could have been discussed on a call. It could have been said, hey, wouldn't it be cool if, right? All that kind of stuff. It does. You do have those kind of conversations, right? You don't need those coming back up towards the light. Hey, didn't we say we were going to do this? Hey, didn't you agree to do this? It's like, no, if it's not in the specification, you do. So one of the things, like over the years, as we're doing the quotes and specifications, over the years we made sure we put that line in there and saying, if it is not in the specification, it has not been agreed to, right? It's it's not, this is not we are not creating art together. It is your idea, it is your vision. I'm helping you realize that vision, but then we have to build it, right? An architect or someone building a building is not going to go through and say, oh, we'll figure that floor out when we get to it. No, they're like, no, we need to know structurally how everything's going to work. Right? Otherwise, I've had developers near mutiny at clients who keep changing their minds about stuff. I have nearly completely thrown in the towel. I've had clients completely get upset because they think we've agreed to something and we haven't, because it was like some meeting where when there's a part where everything is nebulous and you're thinking about what you can actually do, and you think, hey, could we do multiplayer? Yeah, we could. It'll be expensive, but yeah, we could. Could we do could we do AI? Yeah, probably, but it's going to be but yes, that'll be expensive, but yeah, it is a possibility. And then all of a sudden, or even just is it possible that the users could do X, Y, and Z? So, yeah, if you want them to, but it's going to be extra, right? And then when you get to the bit where they go, I thought you said we were going to do X, Y, and Z. I thought, yeah, I remember mentioning this. Now you could be like, I do minutes for every meeting, or whatever, which I don't do, but it would make sense. Or if you have somebody on your team, if you have a team that can take minutes, but most of the time, just make sure that's if it's not in the specification, then you have to say no, even if it's easy, right? And I'm the worst at this. I'm like, yeah, this is it's only take a couple hours. I'll make those few changes, right? And then you add like a new feature just because you're being nice, and then the new feature has a bug, and then they keep coming back to you about it, and you think, that new feature, it's not working properly, and you're like, I did it as a favor, and then you have this whole new thing. So But I hope that answers your question, Alexis. Let's see. Dynamic App says, what is the best way to beta test an Android in your opinion? Do you just use a standard Google Play console beta test, or would you recommend using another platform? I usually, because most of the time when I do the beta testing, I'm doing it with a very small audience. Even when I release an app to the Play Store, it's usually, to begin with, it's a very small audience. So I'm not that worried about it. But if I'm doing something like for clients, I use something called Test Fairy. Let's have a look at this here, which is a lot. So like on, and that's for like if you have like 20 people to test something. So we just see. So like on iOS, you've got you got Test Flight, but actually on Android, you could just go ahead and send them the you could just send them the APK and with instructions on how to go through and do that. But now you got all that stuff with the Google Play security things and getting them to getting them to change stuff like that. Sometimes we'll do stuff. So this is one which is I mean they have a pretty good free tier for just like a couple of applications, and then like most mobile app stuff for developers, it goes from free to hugely expensive, right? So let me see, what's the pricing on this? You got free, 5 apps, and you got enterprise. Look at that. There's like no middle. They used to have pricing on here. It was like a couple £100. But this is one of the ones that I use. If you use Google Play beta test, how do you go through the app review for every new build you test? Like I said, I don't. Okay, the reason I don't use Google now, if you talk to Rodrigo, who's like always on the channel, he loves the alpha and the beta builds on Google Play. Right? He loves using those because they do that. They'll do the compatibility checks and everything like that. There's all these tests they do in the background, and the only reason I haven't got into that was because back in the day, back in the olden days, back when you guys were just wee children. Google Play, it was linked with Google Plus, and you had to set up a Google Plus circles and everything like that. And it was like nobody was on Google Plus, and it was just too difficult, right? And even just getting them to log in with their Google accounts, like especially with clients and stuff like that, sometimes it's difficult. And it also because if you're releasing it through some other means, then you could sign it with a different key and have both versions on there simultaneously. Right, that's one of the things I don't like about the beta testing is you have some people out there with different versions of the app. But you guys might disagree with me on this, by the way. What do I know? I'm just a guy here with a messed up eye. Jitendra, how you doing, man? I'm doing good, man. Yo, what's up, man? I'm doing good. How you doing? Doing well. Let's see. Why you stop sharing your ad mob running with us? All right, I will share it with you. My goodness. All right. So I can't show you my ad mob. I can't show you my screen. I can't show you my RPM, but I can show you my daily revenue. Although it is a holiday today in the Philippines, and I don't know if it's been updated today. But let me just show you. And this is it. Nobody feels sorry for me. Nobody says, "Oh, how far you have fallen." Because I actually haven't checked this in a while. Don't tell Rowena. So, yeah, let me show this. Here is my daily revenue report. So going all the way back to 2016, I think it is, we have a daily revenue report, so I can see where we were for each month, and it's not just AdMob, but it's iTunes and Google Play purchases. And like I said, I've been hit with hard times, not because of the virus, but because of the suspension. Oh, come on, load. Was that just a second ago? All right. Oh, I tell you what. Sometimes when you're streaming something, it's nothing works properly. Here we go. So, how's it going? How's the weather? How's the weather going to be this weekend where you live? So come on, load. All right, let's not, should we come back to that? All right. Oh, there we go. Oh, wait, no. Yeah, once I change screens, there we go. All right. So this is the daily revenue report. This is for May. You can see like throughout May, it was like 35 pounds, 32 pounds. Over here, we've got one with nothing in it, which is I don't know why. We've got like because our iTunes is kind of doing because so we've got a invalid. I mean, $2.24. Oh, it is as slow as a. God, all right. So there we go. So so you can see like right now, this is the ad mob is on the far left column over here. So you can see it's about 19, 14, 15, 19 pounds. If I go to June, which I don't know if we have any June data. We should do. It's 12th. Oh, it is taking so long. I think it's for some reason the screen is taking forever to refresh. There we go. If it's trying to render, so let's go back. Okay, this is the June data. So you can see here. Well, that's obviously incorrect. So 15, 16. So this is about what I'm making at the moment. It's not a huge amount. If you see through iTunes still we don't have. I hardly have any applications over in iTunes, but that's what the revenue is over there. We got Google Wallet minus their 30%, which is the minus Google cut. That's like really low. So yeah, I need to get back in my skates. But yes, I am not hiding anything from you. I am like I have nothing to hide, right? Why, I have, like I said, I have nothing to sell you. I have no reason to hide what I'm making. The iPhone calculator Ayush says, iPhone calculator is a pro version that you are prompted to buy when you flip your phone sideways for all other calculation options. You can see the pro version on my dev page. Okay, is the price set too high maybe? Let's have a look. Let's go back to this, so we can find it. I am good at, so I know you can't see my screen right now, but for some reason it seems to be really slow when I share it. Let me just do this again. Find this calculator. Oh, it is so slow. All right, for these guys, who are my Mac fans out there? Let's see. No, I did actually take the plunge and I ordered an iMac, but it's going to take like at least another 3 weeks to get here. Because it's just it's getting to the point where first of all, it's scary how old this MacBook is getting. It's like it's my bread and butter. It's my livelihood. I need it to do day to day, and I can't actually. So like if it does break down, I need to have that backup. But I'm kind of justifying it to myself because Macs are expensive, and I need a Mac for the iPhone stuff. So let's go. So this is the Ayush Pai's calculator. So yeah, that's the sideways one. That's the in-app purchase. How expensive is it? Oh, I'm sweating like a pig. I mean, all right, you reviewed your own app, which I think is perfectly fine. Your in-app purchases are. I think, yeah. Why don't you just tell me what are the prices of those? Rohit says, "Hey Eric, what is the best country to soft launch a gaming app if I am primarily targeting North America and Western European market?" Okay. This is again. I've never soft launched an app. Right? I don't really see. I never really saw the purpose of it. Right? It's I mean, well, I do see the purpose of it because you get to try it out on a smaller group of people. But you still need to put it someplace where you're going to get enough downloads that people are actually using it. So if you're interested in North American, I wouldn't do the U.S. market if you want to make sure that's what you do. If that's what you want to do is get the kinks out of it, just start to get some stuff in. I think if you were to do something like someplace where your ad revenue is really small, like India, right, then you get some of those downloads and reviews in there. I mean, the reviews, they won't be able to see the reviews on the U.S. English version, but they will be able to see the ratings. Phil just said, I'm down for WWDC. I enjoy the live streams and presentations. It's always really well done. Yeah, they do. It's I can remember a few years ago, all the developers wait for WWDC to start, and then they have so many, like you actually couldn't, like they had like all kinds of video problems and everything. But it is one of those things. It's an event. It's like, I mean, at least watch the keynote. It's like watching the Google I/O keynote. Neil Yu says, question, to Flutter or to PWA? Okay, so PWAs are interesting, but it's like I still think the App Store and the Play Store are important. It's still where users know to go. You're going to get more browsers. I mean, like people browsing through the Play Store and the App Store. If you were to say I have an app, that's where they're going to go to look for it. And you have so much stuff. If you like, somebody told me the other day, even like playing audio, it's not quite there yet on the PWA. I mean, it's getting really good. It's getting really advanced. But if you have glitches and stuff, you're like, if you do an app, at least you have full control over the platform. You have that compiled code and everything. So I still lean on the side of doing a proper application that goes onto the App Store. Paolo Petruk says, Eric, can you tell me whether you can start selling apps in the Google Play Store, being a physical person and not having a company? Yeah, definitely. Most of the people don't have a company. Yeah, of course you can. Jitendra Pridap says, how to set up in-app purchases. Okay, so it's easy. You go, if you're doing it on iOS, you set them up within the application. You set them up within the Play Store, App Store Connect, or through the Google Play Developer Console, and then you get the unique key back, which is usually, for me, it's usually the same as a package name plus the thing. So like for mine, say Bengali Bubble Bath, to be com.overpass.bengalibubblebath.bypro. That would be my thing. It just helps me remember it when I'm going into the code, because that's the unique identifier you're going to need to use when you unlock it, when you call it through there. So it's not that difficult to do. I mean, the hard bit about in-app purchases is testing it, right? Even though you set up a test account and it says it won't take any money from your credit card, you still have to put the credit card in there. And a lot of times you can't purchase your own applications. This could be a real pain testing these kind of things. So for me, what I'll do is I'll set up like a harness, like a test harness almost, where it says if you go through that bit, there's the whole making the call to Google Play and getting the call back saying successful or not. But then I'll bypass that through development. That way, keep going with development, keep clearing it down, keep doing it again, and then that way when you do actually do the testing it, you're not testing it through that whole long-winded process. Port by Software, morning all, morning. It's evening here too. Dynamic App says, what is the difference in conversion rates from free to paying users for apps on iOS compared to Android? What is the difference? For me, it's always been much higher. Like, people are much more willing to spend money on iOS, right? I mean, given the small amount of numbers. I've always made more money on Android because I have so many more downloads on it. But when you look at like the actual average revenue per user was higher on the iOS side of things. Let's see. James Hughes says, what's the cheapest hosting platform for simple Node server and MongoDB? I don't know what the cheapest is. I know that if I'm just going to do like a Node.js, I'll usually use Heroku just because it's quick to set up, right? And you got that free tier. Now the free tier used to be completely free, and then you upgrade when you added some beef to it. And now it's like it will stay alive for like 20 hours a day. Like it's weird because it goes to sleep for a few hours a day, which is, if you're in development, it's perfectly fine. It's easy to spin that thing up. You don't have to do all that kind of stuff. In the past, I've also done the thing where I set up a Linux server and just run it off of that. But I prefer having. I like these. I like these app services. Like, well, on Microsoft, it's app services, I think. But on it's Lambda in AWS. It's Google. Google. They all have it. The kind of thing where all you have to do is push your Git repository and everything will go there. So you don't have to actually SSH onto the box or actually go onto the box and start installing stuff. Everything can go into your package.json. You do everything that way. And I like the flexibility of that and just being able to move it from one to another. One of the things, James, that I've always hated was when there's too much proprietary for the platform to do. Like, it's one of the downsides of Firebase. Although Firebase is very similar to MongoDB, using like, well, I mean, it still uses very much like a Node. It still uses Node.js on the Google Cloud Functions, but you're still like, if you wanted to, like, if for whatever reason Google Firebase went away, or you're like, or got just hugely expensive, it's gonna be hard to move that to another place. And the nice thing about Node and PHP and well, a lot of these things that are not proprietary to one company is that you could move them if you need to. MySQL as well. But I don't know what the cheapest is. Like, if you actually set up a virtual server, then I still think DigitalOcean is the one that I go with because it seems to be much cheaper than the others. Sheep Studios, got it. Okay, so what were we looking at? It was called Geo Sheep Studios. I'm going to share my screen here in a minute. Okay, Sheepdog, just a moment here. I'll make sure I get the right. Yeah, if I Google it, I get another tool here. But that's okay. I mean, if you Google like Overpass, there's Overpass API, there's a band called Overpass. All these things that didn't exist when I set everything up. But it's just kind of this thing. So here we go, Geo. So now I wasn't able to find it through search, but I was able to find it through Google using both names. Here we go. So this is a Sheepdog's game called Geo, dynamic shape matching game. Let's watch the video. Oh my goodness. Oh, run. Okay. My computer is just, it's not usually this slow. It's the stream. No, seriously, it must be nerves. This has never happened to me before. Okay. Oh, cool. It looks good to me. I wish my computer wasn't showing up. I want to have a closer look at this. You got 7 reviews, 10 plus installs. You just released on just a few days ago, so we need to get some stuff into it. I think this kind of video is the kind of thing where it would be really good. I mean, it depends on what's your monetization. Whether or not that would be the kind of thing where I think the video is really good because you can see exactly what it is. And if you were to put that like on a Facebook ad and people were just to see that video going by in their stream, then they might be enticed to have a look at it. I mean, it doesn't require a lot of explanation. I think it looks really good. I mean, what do the rest of you guys think? Bill J says, regarding sweating, dude, I think this rainstorm increased the temperature by 10 to 15%. It's hot here in Henley. Dude, all of a sudden it just got really, I mean, I have the windows open, but I'm on a busy intersection. So like a lot of the times you see like the, but thanks everyone for liking the video. Thanks everyone for liking, smashing that like button and everything. I really appreciate it. But you'll see that I put up these like sound tiles and everything. And to be honest with you, part of it was I thought it would look really cool on the wall, but it is helping a little bit with the echo that we have in here a lot. So like I get sirens go by all the time. You know, I don't know, I should probably set up the camera in a different place one of these days, because if you look at the window, you see all kinds of traffic going by. And the rain is just streaming down. Leandro, hey, how's it going? Fist 007, thanks for the Xamarin update. I forgot to ask. TBH. Theo says, when is the new iMac arriving? On the 7th of July. Now, it's one of those things. You know, it's like, every so often I have to get like a new, like my iPhone, I got a new iPhone last month, right? And it was kind of those things like, the other one was just on its last legs, right? But it's one of those things where I really kind of need an iPhone. And my Android is just completely, like, every so often it just restarts itself, right? When you're testing your code, it's really, really difficult. Especially when you do it for a client, you're saying, well, it's just my iPhone, my Android keeps restarting. And the whole thing with this MacBook is it's constantly running out of disk space. It's making huge noises. And the other day it just slowed just to a snail's pace. So I thought I need to get something. Should I get another MacBook to maybe portable? And I thought, actually, no. I want to get like a full thing. Now, what I really want is just like a beefy Linux that could do everything that my Mac could do, like iPhone development, video editing using Final Cut Pro and everything like that. But it's not going to happen. So, or a Hackintosh. Like I wanted something with a huge amount of memory in it. So what I got was the higher spec of the iMac, and I'm going to upgrade the memory myself and everything, or being able to buy the memory. It's, just slide it into the back. It's not that big a deal. But I'm looking forward to it. It'll be fun. Fisto says I do 35% up. Okay, so back to payments. I do 35% up front, 35% after the second version. I only allow 2 free rounds of revisions. Smart. And 30% just for going live. That sounds like a really good idea. But what if you don't have a second iteration, a second revision? I guess you could just do that before you go live. Huh? Let's see. This way, if the client bails out, I could go away with 70% of the payment. I know that's the whole thing, is if they bail out. And it's ideally you want to keep them. Ideally, you want to keep the client for years and years to come. Every time they need a change, everything they need that, you want to have really good customer service. It's not like I don't trust you and they don't trust you and you don't trust them. If you ever find yourself in a situation like that, then it's just not worth starting that project, right? I've had those before, but you do have that, tempers fray. Creating an app for somebody it's their baby. It's their vision. There's a lot of emotion invested in it, especially if it's an individual. Like if you do it for a company, they'll understand that things go wrong. They'll understand what scope creep is. They'll understand that if they want something new, it's something different. But if they're doing it for an individual and they've actually been, they're putting their savings up for it, it's really, really stressful, right? And it's almost more. A lot of times we won't do stuff for individuals anymore just because of that, right? And you get a point where you have something where you deliver something, and as a developer, as a designer, as everything, you're putting your heart and soul into it too, right? You're like, dude, we're doing the best thing we can for you. And sometimes I'll come back going, it wasn't quite what I was hoping, right? And which is fair enough if they're nice about it, but sometimes it gets really, things get heated, and sometimes you get to the point where, you do have, like I said, this, but we said that we would do this, we said we'd do this. I've had projects that were supposed to last for months that go on for years because of this kind of stuff. It can be really, really difficult. I've never made a refund though. They're always happy, and the refund strategy is to give the clients a sense of warranty. Yeah, no, I've never given a refund either. This is where the statement of work comes in handy. Yeah, definitely. Dynamic App says you should get Snapchat again. You know what? I used to enjoy doing Snapchat, and then I went to Instagram Stories, and Instagram Stories, same thing, right? Same thing, but for some reason I'm having trouble keeping the Instagram Stories going. And this week, because I'm thinking about the stupid sty in my eye, even that was the only reason I need to do a video. I don't want, I don't want you guys thinking I'm all, Dad, Eric's looking old. Eric's like, ooh, it's catching up with him. Statement of work. I know. Thank you. I know what that is. If it's a technical acronym, I know it. But if it's something like IRL, that I don't. Hey, Eric, could you maybe tell whether you could start selling apps at the Google Play Store with a physical person, not just company? Yeah, we can. We can ask that one. Marcosora says, I'm using Google Play beta testing track in the internal test, and it honestly works great. They only take a couple of hours or less to approve. Actually, that's pretty cool. Yeah, like I said, the reason I don't use it is not because it's not good. It's just because it didn't used to be good, right? It's one of these, I'm an old dog. I need to learn these new tricks. Thanks, Marco. Let's see. If you use Google Play beta tests, can those beta testers still review your app once it's on the store? I'm not sure about that. If anybody else knows the answer to that. When you needed that new iMac, I can't remember. You guys remembered I told you that last week. I every so often I think, you know what? I don't need a new iMac. And then I'll go to cancel it, and I'll no, you're gonna need it, because otherwise this thing's gonna pack in as soon as I hit that cancel button. So how long does it take Google to start showing your app in search after launch? Any SEO tips? It used to be show up in search, at least if you search on the name, pretty early on, and now it seems to be taking weeks. I don't know if you guys just saw my monitor turn off then. This is another reason why I need the new iMac. Let's see, which one do you prefer, Angular or React, and why? I prefer Angular. React is something, I've used React a little bit, but the reason I don't like React is, again, I think JavaScript should be JavaScript and HTML should be HTML, and you shouldn't have JavaScript with HTML in it in that JSX format. But it's not that bad. It's still okay. And I think it's just because it's what I know. I know the Angular. Although, to be honest with you, I've been using a bit of Angular 8 this week, and it's I'm still very much an Angular 1 person, right? I could do Ionic version 1 and a bit of Ionic version 2. And even the Angular kind of stuff, but yeah, I'm still not a TypeScript guy, right? So React doesn't use TypeScript, does it? I don't think it does. Let me know if I'm wrong. Let's see. I personally prefer do the Angular due to the SOC principle. Remember what I just said about knowing what acronyms are if they're technical? SOC stands for Scope of, and congrats for the iMac. Thank you very much. Regarding Mac purchase, congrats on the purchase. You'll be happy. Smash that like button. Oh, thanks very much, Phil. Yeah. Barbara says, which iMac did you buy, Eric? So I bought the i9. So I actually went with. So this MacBook Pro has 16 gigabytes of RAM, and it's lasted me pretty well. But every so often, I need to run for whatever reason, I need to run a virtual machine, like a Windows and a virtual machine. And this used to do okay with it, but now it's just a pig, right? In the virtual machine, I'll give it 4 gigs of memory or 8 gigs, and then the whole thing just crashes. So I always wanted to have something that's huge. So I got the i9, which is officially upgradable to 64 megabytes of RAM. Gigabytes. 64 gigabytes of RAM. But apparently, unofficially, you can get up to 128 gigabytes. I'm thinking about going to 64 gigabytes and just initially, and then leaving the other slots. This will get 232. So it'll come with 2 4 gigabyte sticks, and I'm going to try to do 232 for the other ones, and then that way, hopefully I can get up to whatever 70. 72, whatever. And then if I need it, then I at least upgrade it later. Hopefully that'll work out. But really, it is a case of running the virtual machines, just getting everything running, even video editing. Sometimes I got a video rendering, and then I can't do any other work. And then it's usually when a client will call, or they'll say, "Hey, Eric, can you have a look at this thing?" And you're everything slows down. And even here on the Mac, I've been, having a slow performance over here. But yeah. let's see, Ayush Payaf says, it's not in-app purchase, it's a separate app called iPhone Calculator Pro on my developer page. Ayush, you need to get it. Like, okay, so you have to think about, you should be using in-app purchases in your free application as well. But you have to think about it like, you have to be, if you're looking at both of them and you have one of them's paid, one of them's free, you're going to try the free one. And then if it's working and you're happy with it, then cool, but the ads are kind of annoying and there's nothing you can do about it. All you could do is uninstall it and go get the pro version. Now you could have a button that links to the pro version within it saying if you click here to upgrade, and it just takes you back out there to get the pro version. But it's just a lot of hassle. If you can do the in-app purchase, then it's best to do it. And the best time to hit them up for that in-app purchase is right when they try to do that rotation. Neil, you says, get rid of that crapful laptop. I know, man. It is old. This is my old clunker car that I'm driving around now, thinking, no, this baby still got some mileage in her. Thanks, Neil. I appreciate that. Abhinav says, freelancing or job in a company, which is better? It depends on. Personally, I think freelancing is better. You have control over your time, but you just jumping into freelancing if you don't have any experience is going to be a lot harder. Getting into a job where they pay you to learn and they pay you to give you experience, and you go in there and put in your, put in the reps, then you're going to be able to make much more money as a freelancer going forward. I see a lot of people who are freelancers who have they've only done freelancing, like they've never done like actually work at another job. Right, so it's, which is always like, I mean, I've hired people who are only freelancers, but I'm always a bit skeptical, right? Because the only person who's told me that they're really good at what they do is them, all right? And it's like, and how do they know? Because they haven't really been in a team of other people. Like, here's what I think about it. Let's say you had to hire a mercenary, right? Do you want a mercenary who was an Army Ranger, or who used to be an Army Ranger but now has gone freelance, or would you want one who just decided he's going to be a mercenary? Some guy named Steve. Some guy named Steve who went out and bought a bunch of weapons, right? And he has like no military training. He's got no, whatever. He's just going like, thinking, I'm self-taught. You're going to want the person who's had that bit of stuff. So so when you go into the freelancing market, if you have that under your belt, it's going to look really impressive. Now, if you're going to go there and, like, if your job is to go freelancing in the future anyway, you could do something like, you get a job at Microsoft or Google. I mean, if you can. They don't pay as well, which is one of the reasons why I've never done it. But it would look impressive as a freelancer and stuff. And ideally, you build up that portfolio and everything. Let me know if you guys disagree with me. I mean, these are just my opinions. See, Neil, thanks. You're welcome. Jitendra, thanks. Let's see. How do you transfer account ownership from personal to business? I don't know. I've never done it. I assume you just have to, get in touch with them. I think that's a good thing to ask Google. If worst comes to worst and you have to set up a separate account, you can always transfer the apps over. You can do that on both Apple and on Google Play. On the App Store and on Google Play, you can transfer apps from one account to another and still keep all the same users, the same package name, the same URLs, everything like that. But I think they would probably have some way of doing that. Let's see. Does a Mac Mini have laptop specs or desktop specs? I don't know. I did look at that. I did think about getting a Mac Mini, and then, I think initially that's what I was going to do was a Mac Mini, and then go back to Windows. One thing is, so I got this Mac back in 2013, and it was so hard to get used to the keyboard shortcuts. Somebody was teasing me about this earlier this week. I was saying how I knew all the keyboard shortcuts for Final Cut Pro. And he said, you developers with your keyboard shortcut, your precious keyboard shortcuts. But it's true. like we work better when we know the shortcuts and everything. Even if you're just like a copy paste person, Control C, Control V, Command V. So switching Control to Command messed with my head so much, right? It ruined my game, right? So I can't even just going back to Windows. It just messes me up because I did think about getting a Mac Mini just for compilation purposes and try to do everything else on Windows, and then that way I could beef up a Windows PC or even a Linux machine. I think it's probably a bit limited. The whole thing about Mac is they only give you so many options, right? They're just, you know, and if you do try to like hack it in any way, meaning make it better, then you void the warranty. Hey, Simon Superdome. Hey, how's it going? Yes, everyone do a little liking and a little subscribing. Hey, I think everyone do a little bit of. We're gonna do a little bit of liking. We're gonna do a little subscribing. Thanks very much, dude. We can't hear a thing from here. Oh, has my audio gone out? Let me know. Can you guys hear me? Let's just make sure. You guys got me. You guys got me. You're getting in my head, Fist007. Let's see. I have an app. Dynamic App says I have an app that has a free version on Android, but I don't have a premium version working yet. Should I release it and start getting feedback, etc., or wait till the premium version? Or wait till the premium version done? Usually, so for me, using a free version and a paid version, it's just really the same code, right? If you're in Android Studio, you have like 2 different flavors, one for free and one for paid. That way you have a lot of the shared code, and then you have a few things in between. And usually it goes down to one variable that says is full version, right? So throughout the code, you have like this variable like is full version, and this may be naive, but like, let's see. You have your free version and your paid version, and if you release the paid version, you just go through, change that variable, recompile it, and then release it. Ideally, in your 2 different, like if you're in Android Studio using Android, you'd have 2 different flavors with your constants being different in the 2 of them. That way you'd have all your strings saying whatever, app name pro rather than the app name, and then you'd also have that is full version would be a constant, and then that way when you compile both of them, you compile both at the same time with the different package numbers. If that makes sense. If you're using another thing like I do it in Corona, which is a little bit more difficult because they don't really have a thing of flavors, but I can do a thing where I actually run the Node.js script. I have like files with the variables in them. That way I can run a Node.js script and just swap those out using the script rather than having to remember everything to go do it on my own. So like I'll have like a Lua file which just returns one variable, which would be a Boolean saying is pro version. That way I can say is pro version is equal to require version check .lua. Let's see. Chiron Janitra says, will Google give permission to an app to have background messaging option to activate some services? I don't think they would. I've never seen that happen. I think maybe if you had because you think about, how easy that would be to abuse, like going forward. Just have some dormant service sleeping in the background, and then you're able to ping it, and then all of a sudden, the person, their phone goes crazy, or they turn into a zombie and attack. That would be a very good Doctor Who episode. And we release an app and it's like hugely popular, but there's this like little service. We send a message out, then everyone turns into zombies, and then the Doctor has to save the day. Let's see. Neil uses James. Try AWS Light Sail plan with Plesk. So easy, so capable. Oh, okay. Graviton CPUs are fast and cheap too. Okay. Dynamic App says Overpass apps. I think the advantage of Snapchat is a more personal nature of it, and you'd probably get more engagement with it. Also, it would be cool to be able to talk to you on Snapchat. Yeah, you know what? One of the reasons, like when I was doing Snapchat, it was a lot easier because I knew everybody who was watching on Snapchat was from the channel. Like I could talk about anything as technical as I wanted to. I could be as idiotic as I wanted to. I could just be like, hey, I'm going off here. Whereas on Instagram, a lot of it is influencers, and they're trying to get me to follow them back, so they're following me. So I've got these weird people watching me on the Instagram. They're not weird. Maybe. I don't know. But there's people I don't know. Right? So I'm putting this stuff out there, and it's like, I don't know the audience, right? Like, when you don't know the audience, then you start to get nervous. Like, if I didn't know who you guys were right now, if I thought you guys were like, my high school graduating class, I'd probably be a bit nervous. But like, I know we're developers. Like, if you're like this far into the live stream, we probably are, right? So it's one of those things. Separation of concerns. Yeah. God, I should have known that one. Oh. Um, 64 gigs of RAM. You better put your wardrobe in it. I want a beast of a machine. I don't want any more like excuses as to why it can't do what it needs to do. I want to be able to make a video. Like a lot of the times, if you guys watch my videos, if I go out and film a little bit outside, it's still a little bit shaky and still a bit like it's because it takes so long to render, and I got other stuff to do. So I want something that can handle that, and I'm not waiting on the stupid computer anymore. But yeah, I do. I want a beast of a machine. I want to hear it purr. I want to be like. I want to be like mechanics in the 50s. Ooh, listen to that baby purr. Yes, and I'll give it a name. I'll give it a name like Yolanda or not Betsy. That's a bit more. That's more. But yeah, something like Charmaine. I'll give it a really good name, right? And I'll like when I turn it on, it goes boom. I'll be like, yeah, baby, I'm here for you. How creepy is that? I can do it. So Abhinav, I took a course in Hindi. I took a 10-week course in Hindi, but I have no idea what that means. Sorry about that. Unless you're like making fun of me. It was thanks for the answer in Hindi. Oh, it was thanks for the answer in Hindi. Thank you very much, Abhinav. I could say, kya aap kuch khana garam? No, wait. Oh, I can't remember. Jahati hai? Kya aap kuch khana jahati hai? And then they'll say, I'm a woman, so you just say, And I'll say, oh. That's where it lost me. It got so complicated really fast. Well, I took a 10-week course in Hindi, and I just did not get very far with it. Tyler, the engineer. Hey, Tyler, how's it going? It says, what advice do you have for someone who's about to publish their first app soon on Android and iOS? Think about the keywords and think about how people are going to find it. I think that's probably the biggest thing, right? How are what's out there already, and how are they going to get to it? Because that's going to be what you want to put in your description, at least at the beginning. It doesn't necessarily mean you're going to rank for those things, but at least you have it so that it's easy to do. You'd be surprised at how many people, and also the screenshot. Think about the screenshots, right? Don't just put the screenshots like what the app actually does. Do like we talk about here all the time. Have the screenshots of the best bit of copy that you have on there. So put in there what the app's actually going to do, and actually make it like almost like billboards, saying next. And you see that all the time, but you also see, especially with new developers put stuff out there, it's just the apps. Now, if you hire somebody to do it and they're doing a screenshot for you, they're just going to do the normal screenshots. Right? It's almost like it's on you to do it. And to do it for Android is easy. To do it for iOS is a pain because you have to get all the right screen sizes, and I can never remember what those are. Let's see. Fist Double Seven said, a new mercenary who's played some video games. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I'll get the tank first. All right, let's stop talking about mercenaries. That was a bad analogy. Rizwan Ada, aloha, mate. Thanks, aloha. Duncan Higgins says, hey, Eric, hope you're doing great. I'm doing really well, Duncan. Thanks for making it to the live stream. And thank you, everyone, once again, for smashing the like button. Is it too much? It's a bit too much, isn't it? Let's see. Mac Mini is a laptop without a screen. And then Fist of Wilson says, for some reason, I'm assuming it's the not really be. It says, no. Come on. All right. Duncan says, I hear you. Okay, yeah, you can hear me. Okay, cool. So, no, it's meant for the sound isolation. Okay, I get it. See, you must get in my head, Fist of Wilson. Rahul Lover says, Bridges, a smart puzzle run on Play Store. My game is not getting more downloads. If you want us to, we have a look at it. Bridges, a smart puzzle game run. Should we have a look at it? For some reason, again, this is another thing. I'll get this new iMac. Right? I'm going to come up with a good name for it. It's not just going to be a computer. It's not going to be not like this thing, this, use and abuse laptop. Although I'm probably still going to use this laptop when I go to client sites. But it's going to be come on, baby. Power up, baby. See? And I don't know why I find that funny. Let's see, Bridges, smart puzzle run. It did come up in search. That's pretty good. Let's see. I'm gonna share my desktop here in a minute, but for some reason, when I share my desktop, it doesn't render the screen properly. Which I don't know if it's eCam Live or the fact that I've got. Rahul, are you developer 860? All right, I'm going to share my screen. I'm assuming that this is going to be yours, Rahul. Bridges, a smart puzzle run, but developer name is Developer 860, which might be, there might be a really cool backstory to that, but to me it looks like it's a, like, I don't know, there's so many things you could choose from. Why Developer 860? It sounds like, okay, cool. So, it looks cool to me. I haven't, God, my computer is running so slow. Dev 860. Okay, cool. So, Rahul, while you're there, why do you call it Developer 860? Is it like in the old days when you get an email address and like, you can always tell the people who thought about their email addresses because they'd be like, they'll think of something really cool, and you got the people like the people who are just new to it, they'll just take the default, like, it says, John Smith 86495-3 whatever at gmail.com. So is that, or is there like a cool name behind it? Let's watch the video. The video, like if you have a video, if you guys don't have a video on it, I mean, the video is the first thing that you check out. Like for me, if there's a video, that's what I'm gonna look at before I even look at anything else. Except if I'm looking at on my old Mac. Let's see. It's loading. Yeah. Can you guys hear that? Or am I just dancing for no reason? It looks good. I mean, it looks fine to me. How you doing on terms of downloads? I want to see more of it, but for some reason my computer keeps running slow. But Rahul, I mean, it looks pretty cool to me. I mean, if anybody else wants to put their opinions of it on there. Dynamic App says, my app is largely content-based, therefore the premium unlocks more content. I ask because retention will be higher once a premium is done. The free version has last content only lasts a few hours. Okay. Okay. UK Baz, hey, says, have you ever thought about releasing a course, maybe for newbies? You're very knowledgeable and articulate. All about the Benjamins. You know what? So yeah, next week I am going to be releasing a new course. It's going to be called Get Rich with Apps. Get Rich. No, I keep thinking about it. I've been looking at it, and I just haven't done it. I mean, it's one of the, again, and this, maybe it's part laziness, maybe it's part that I feel like I'd be kind of selling out. Like right now, we're all developers working in the same thing at the same time. I might have a bit more experience, but I'm happy to share that experience with you guys. Eventually, I'm going to do some sort of sponsorships and affiliate links, and I say that every single week, and I haven't done it yet. Again, laziness, right? Just setting that up, because for me it just sounds awkward to say this video is brought to you by the letter Q or whatever. So but yeah, I have thought about it. It's I think I'm happy with it. For me, even when I meet with clients, and they're willing to pay me lots of money, to me I'm still like, I'm happy just to have a conversation, right? If they want to hire me, they can, and it all works. It's yeah, I guess I'm not very good at self-promotion. Is probably at the core of it. Despite the fact that I put a YouTube on here, I say my name's Eric. I make apps thousands and thousands of times. I'm still not very good at self-promotion, which is something I need to get over. I know. Tech Way Woo, yeah, you're here. Hey, Eric, quick question. In the aspect of revenue, do you think include in-app purchase for ads removal is a good idea? or just rely on active users for more ads impressions. I think it is a good idea to add it in there. It doesn't mean you're going to make any money from it, but it's always good to give them the option. But I don't think it should just be that. I think what I think you should do is have like 2 or 3 of them, and then one of them is remove ads. Like if they really don't want to have ads, give them that option, right? And if nothing else, then if they complain there's too many ads, you can say there's an option to remove it. All you have to do is give me like $1. Right? And then that's it. You have nothing else, right? Because you're going to make more from that dollar probably than you are from that user over their ads over the course of their lifetime, depending on how long you're going to use it. So, but yeah, I think you should have it in there, but try to have something else in there. So, like, let's say you have a full version with this, like, which has everything together. It's a little bit cheaper than buying them individually. Then you also have the individual options too. Abhinav says, you asked in Hindi, would I like to eat something? Why not? Oh, well, why would you do a Hindi course? I did a Hindi course because I was working with Indian developers all day long. I was working a contract, and it was kind of so one of the reasons why I got into outsourcing was because I have a Chinese Mandarin language ability. So I was in the army as a Chinese linguist. 所以我可以说一点普通话。我1991年我学了一点中文。But I don't ever get a chance to use it very often. And because most of the time I was working with developers in India, I didn't know any Hindi. So I thought I'll learn a bit of Hindi, and that would be really good to do. And then it went from hello, ekto, chin, char, punch, like just being able to count, being able to say hello and thank you. And then it got to again, like if you're talking this object, like a lot of languages, which just throws me. Like for some reason, Mandarin and Chinese is just really logical in terms of the spoken language, and the written language is it's still pretty logical, but it's like all over the place. It's like there's such a disconnect between the reading and the writing, unless because it's they're the symbols of the characters, but like a lot, like even Spanish, right? When they say the table is masculine, the chair is feminine, or whatever, like that always throws me. And then I could even have that wrong, right? Because I could never remember that. And that was the same with Hindi. Like it was like in the beginning, I was doing really well in the class, and then it got really it got difficult. I can remember saying that. So there's some people at work. I say, whatever. What do you say? Shukriya. So like little things like that was easy just to say. Just say like and then, but then when you said when I said that, like I can remember saying that, "Kya aap kuch khana chahte hain?" And she goes, "That was really good, except I'm a woman." You should say "whom." So like, and like that's my level of ability. Like in another language, like in Mandarin, I've got a little bit of fluency where I can think about what I'm saying rather than how I'm saying it. Whereas when I was trying to do it in when I was trying to do it in Hindi, it's like I'm leaping from word to word, almost like as if you were like saying something in English. You go, so today I'm going to go outside. Like that's when I do the Hindi, that's what it's like. But yeah, you should name the Mac Mini Cannonball. Regarding iMac name, my vote is on Bubba or Large Marge. Yeah, you know what? So, all right, Phil, already as an American living in England, there's a lot of assumptions people make about me. One of the things is that I would call my laptop, my computer, Bubba, right? I remember when I was working in London, like of one of the places I was working, somebody says, you're just like Bart. I said, you're just like Homer Simpson. So what the hell are you talking about? Like you're putting stereotypes on top of me, and I think if I call my computer Bubba, like that would just be like I would just be feeding into that. So I want to be like smooth and stuff like it's. My computer's name is what is it? Charlena. Long brown hair, big brown eyes. Charlena. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Rizwan Ada says, am I just wrong, or is the fan in your Mac making bee buzz voice? Is it? I think I might have a little bit of a... I've been talking for a while, Rizwan, so that could be that. Bubba, French rap fans will love your skin. Wait, is that a French thing? Let's see. Marco Soros says, how to take 60 frames per second screen recording to the Google Play Store. Dude, I wish I knew. One of the things that I found difficult my whole, like I do, a lot of times I'll give demos to clients and I'll do it like, I'll just film my screen. All right, and I'll do it in iPhone. Right? Not because iPhone is the best, but because it's easier to connect my iPhone to the Mac. And for some reason, mirroring my Android device on a computer has always been difficult. Right? And I know there's screen recording software that you can install on it, and then you have that little thing in the corner. But like I want to have something like a lot of times I'll send a video to a client, and it'll be like me talking, and I'll be like saying like, okay, so then I click over here, and it'll be like the screen on the side. And that works really well with an iPhone. I did a video on how to do that like a few years ago, right? It was just, and a lot of times the clients, they really like that. They like the fact that it's personal, like I'm actually talking to them like I'm talking to you, but then I'm also showing the screen. Jim Bob says, Rahul, your reviews are so fake. Oh, let's have a look at these. All right, yeah, okay, I have to have a look at this now. Yeah, all right, Jim Bob. 5-star reviews with 100 downloads. Really, 23 5-star reviews with 100 downloads. All right, Rahul, let us know. Are they fake? I just want to have a look now because of Jim Bob pointing them out. Very nice game, and it's not easy. Amazing. Yeah, actually, yeah, they do look a little bit. Yeah, you might need to ease off of those a little bit. They do look a little bit too pristine. Yeah. NYC game, my fabulous game. You know what? One of my big rants with Audible, I listen to a lot of audiobooks, is that they've got no control over the reviews. Like you see a lot of audiobooks, and they've got the same kind of thing, where it's just like a bunch of 5-star reviews all coming on the same day or over a couple days span, yeah. Fist 007, get rich with apps. Yeah, you know what? The thing about my new course coming out, get rich with apps, is that I know it's going to be really expensive. It's only going to cost £2,995 pounds per year. But the thing is, you can't afford not to get it. I'm not a big fan of doing a course. Let's see. Rizwan Ada says, my MacBook is 2015 with 16 gigs, 15-inch display. I named it Charlotte before getting married. Now it's called MacBook. Yeah, I'm in my bachelor pad now. I can call it whatever I want to. Let's see. Dynamic App says, what I meant is that I only have the free version ready now, which is will have lower retention. Premium version doesn't have content ready yet because retention affects ranking. My app will rank. I'm not sure I quite get that. Higher when the premium is out. Rahul says, these reviews are given by my friends. They're not fishy at all. Yeah, I mean, it's, okay. You have way more friends than I do, Rahul. Just, I mean, that's not a criticism. That's like, good for you. UK Baz says, do you ever suffer from imposter syndrome? Dude, all the time, right? Look, I am, yeah, UK Baz, I'm sure I've done videos about this before, but yeah, definitely. I think we all do at some point. We think, yeah, one of these days you guys are going to figure out, I don't know a thing about apps. I don't even know what Android is. I've never even seen an iPhone. No, but it's, yeah, we all suffer from imposter syndrome. Like, dude, do you know what the worst thing about, okay, so there's been a few times. I told you, and I've told the story before about getting into IT and going to this interview where I wore a suit that I got from a charity shop, right? And there was another time when I went to China. I went to China in 2009 and met with 10 different software companies to try to get them to partner with Overpass. Overpass being this guy right here, right? So I go out to China. And I go, and I went with the China-British Business Council. So they arrange all these meetings with Chinese software companies. So I thought, that's great. I'll go and meet with them. I think it'll be like, maybe 10 or 20 people. That would be kind of good. There were huge buildings. I'm meeting with like these, the directors of these, the chairman of these huge companies. And everybody's afraid of them. And I'm sitting there speaking Chinese, just like feeling like the biggest fraud ever, because I'm like, yeah, no, Overpass can bring you new clients and new work, and that definitely was. But yeah, we always feel that. I mean, doing videos is difficult. Sometimes, to be honest with you, UK sometimes I will feel like, yeah, I will actually think, I'll get too much in my head. Like, I just, what I'm going to talk about this thing, but maybe, there's always somebody better out at it than there's always somebody better than you. Like I know there are developers who are way better than I am, right? They're just, and they could be sitting there and look at this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He probably names his variables camel case or whatever. They probably have something like that, right? But in the end, it's just have to put stuff out there and also like with the videos and stuff, doing them all the time. I kind of get used to. I know who I am, but in the beginning I didn't. If you watch my early videos, there's a lot more nervousness there. But yeah, I think we all get imposter syndrome. Let's see. Neil Yu says, "Can you make money on an app without any real advertising budget?" My sister in marketing says no. It's the marketing doesn't affect how much money you make. It affects getting people into it, which is I know you're not gonna, if nobody finds your application, then you're not. So I think you probably should have, if you can, you need to get people in there using it. And I still don't think you need an advertising budget, but you need some way for people to find it. You need some way to get it in front of people. Now you could be like Rahul, and you have a whole bunch of friends, or you could be, maybe you could get it on, like if you were to put up, if you were to get some sort of notoriety from it, or like let's say it was featured in the news, right? Or let's say it was featured someplace and you were just able to get some exposure for it and you didn't have to pay for it. Then that's still a likelihood. But the reality is, to get it in front of the right people you need to, then a marketing budget or some sort of advertising is going to help. All right, and then the downside is that you could do all that work. You could pay all that money, get people in to download your app or get them to your Play Store page or your App Store page, and they don't make the download, then that's when you have to do that. So it's better, like before you start spending money on advertising, to just make sure that the little bit of traffic you do have come through, make sure that you get like a good conversion rate on it. Would be my opinion, my humble opinion. Dynamic App says, therefore, should I release free now, or should I wait till I have a premium in-app purchase ready before the first releasing the app? I don't think there's any reason to wait. I think you're going to learn from putting something out there, even if you're not making any money from it, right? But ideally, you'll be able to keep those users so that when it does come out, then you'll have something there for them. And if you are going to do a big announcement, this might be something with putting the push notifications in, so that when it is available, you could push something out to them saying, "Hey, new features available." Whatever. John Monahan, happy Friday, Eric. Hey, happy Friday. Hey, Eric, what's your thoughts on capacitor? My thoughts on capacitor. I've been thinking about capacitor a lot lately. Capacitor. Capacitor. I don't know. Okay. How about what? Okay, my thoughts are, Pratik, but I don't know what it is. That's the first word that springs to mind when I think of capacitor is, what is capacitor? I've never used it. What do the rest of you guys think? TechWayku says, "Thanks, Eric. You're amazing." Thank you very much. I hope you hit the like button. I don't remember what it was I said. Let's see. I've lost my place. Fistable says, "Try French." La table est extrêmement. Oh yeah. I did take a course in French. Well, I took a class like in high school. In 11th grade, I took a French class, and I kid you not, I failed it. I failed that class, although I did skip class a lot. Back in those days, I was not the best student, but I did fail French. I should fail French, and which is why when the Army recruiter said, "We think you'd be good at learning languages," I thought, I'm not. I'm not. I'm definitely not good at learning languages. let's see. UK Bass says, have your viewers ever heard of Product Hunt? Yeah, a lot of people send me Product Hunt stuff, and I don't really understand what it is. But I get that a lot. People send me, check out my Product Hunt page. Let's see. Tyler says, Tyler the engineer says, nothing wrong with asking friends to leave a review on your app. It's a good marketing. I highly agree. Yeah, Rahul, don't take any of if it's all legitimate, then I don't think there's anything wrong with it, right? If I think it's good for you. Yeah, if you were to go out and if I was to scream from this window and tell everybody to download my app, I mean, nobody would. But whatever it is, whatever you have to do to get people to do it, I think it's good. So yeah, don't. There's nothing wrong with that. Dynamic app says my app will rank higher once a premium is out. Sorry, there's a 200 character limit. There is. Fist007 says, you experience with imposter syndrome when you have to work with some new tech, new library, and you have to struggle through the docs and all that cool stuff. Yeah, you do. And the thing about imposter syndrome is a lot of times you feel like a lot of it is just you feel ingenuine because you feel like, God, if they only knew. Yeah. If you guys only knew what a thin thread I was on at the moment, you would have less respect for me. And my dad said that to me once. He said, we all have that fear that if other people could see the thoughts that were going through my head, or if they could see what, if they knew how insecure I felt or whatever, then they would respect me less. We all have that fear. But but we all have it. I think every human does. And if someone doesn't have it, dude, they're not the kind of person you want to know anyway. Not the kind of person I want to know. Do you get a ranking boost the first 7 days of Google Play like you do for Apple? No, you used to back in the old days, but you don't anymore. Let's see. Pratik says, capacitor ionic, similar to Cordova. I meant good vibes. Okay. Oh, no, I've never used it. And Fistable says, so yeah, so I'll check that out, Pratik. I'm not trying to dismiss it, but yeah, I have to check that out because I've never used it. Fistable said, is it nasty oven pizza today? Yes, but not the nasty one. So normally, go off on this tangent. Normally I'll get the really nasty Asda stuff, like the Asda brand, and Asda's like a supermarket chain out here. Usually I'll get the really nasty one and just put some extra cheese on it and just load it up with extra cheese. Tonight I've actually got the Chicago, is it Chicago Brothers? What? So yeah, I splurged a little bit. Rather than spend £1.75 for the pizzas tonight, or like I normally do, I put £4 each for them. So I'm living at large. TechQuaku says, out of curiosity, do you have a degree on computer science or anything relevant to making apps? No, I am complete fraud. Let's talk about imposter syndrome again. Now, my degree is in history. I got my degree in 1998 from Central Missouri State University. Yes, prestigious, I know. How did I get in? Well, I was lucky. Now I got it from Central Missouri State. So I came out, and I told the story before, and I don't want to bore you guys because, I know I do tell the same stories again. But I came out to this country in '98, just had a baby, and didn't have any job prospects. I was trained to be a teacher, so I was going to be a history teacher. Actually, I was going to be a journalist, and then I switched to history teacher because I thought it would be easier because I had very low self-esteem and low confidence. And I thought, and not that there's anything wrong with being a history teacher, but I liked history, and it kind of fit in with my journalism thing, so I went to do history. And when I moved out here, it was like being capable of teaching history in the States. I didn't want to go back to any more school. I was too far in debt. I had a baby, I had no money, had huge debts. Living in my mother-in-law's house, and just nothing. And then I was working in a factory packing yogurt into boxes, and I did that for 2 months. And every day I was sending out 10 CVs a day. And in the post, in the mail, right, and printing them out and sending them out, with my cover letter and looking the envelope, putting this up, and I got 3 interviews in 2 months, and there was hundreds and hundreds of CVs out, and it was to anything. I didn't care what it was, and then I got this open evening at an investment bank in London, and I went there, and somehow they liked me. They thought. but they took a real chance on me. They took a real chance on me that I could. Now I wouldn't have got that if I didn't try, and I tell everybody that too. Like it's nobody's going to come and give you these opportunities, but you can keep applying to everything. And I didn't have a suit. I had a suit, but it didn't fit me because I'd put on a bit of weight. So I got a suit from a charity shop, which cost me £8. I wore my army shoes. And also got a shirt and a tie from the charity shop. I went on the train to London, which I could not afford to do. I went to Canary Wharf, which was just, I was in a factory packing yogurt into boxes in the middle of the night, wearing my white wellies and my white hat and white overalls, and just making minimum wage or just above minimum wage because I was on the midnight shift. And then I went to Canary Wharf, and it was like, talk about imposter syndrome. Talk about feeling like a fraud. And somehow they liked me. They gave me this chance, and I had no experience. In fact, my CV at the time, because I did have a CV, it said my key skills on my CV were I could speak Chinese. They didn't need that. Cash handling experience, because I worked in McDonald's when I was a teenager, and WordPerfect. And I didn't even know WordPerfect that well, but I figured I could learn if I really had to. And anyway, they asked me a bunch of problem-solving skills. They thought we could maybe take a chance on him, but part of me still thinks it was a mistake. But I read everything. I devoured everything. There was like a library there. I devoured everything in that library. I read about the book that changed my life was Visual Basic 5 in 21 days. All right, because that was one where I finally, hey, I could do this, because everything else was way over my head. And then that was one, and then, and then after that, you get into all these other stuff, and it's fun. I mean, I remember reading a book by Mark Cuban. Actually, it was his blog, and he said that you assume that everybody else is reading everything, but most people aren't. Most people aren't keeping up with the technology. I think if you guys are watching a channel, which we're just talking about app development, then you're like, like if you work in a job, that you're different than everybody else, because they do their job, they go home, they don't even think about it, right? And you're in it, you're a player, you're in there doing it. And I think that's what I always want to be, always keeping up with the latest technologies and doing the latest things. And that really, it's not just being able to do the job, but you got to be confident in what you talk about. Like if somebody comes to me and says, what do you think about it? Okay, all right. I was going to say capacitor, but I've never, so a lot of times people come to me with stuff, I'm kind of embarrassed about the fact that I don't know what capacitor is, right? That's, just part of me thinks, how did, God, I need to be doing some more reading. It bothers me that I don't know that, right? And that's kind of the thing about this job, is wherever you get on, you could be the expert in that thing. And it doesn't matter if you didn't know how to do Objective-C, or you didn't know how to do Pascal, or you didn't know how to do whatever, C++ or C# or whatever other technologies were in the past. You could become the expert in that one technology, right? And it's not just doing it, and then learning how to market yourself and everything like that. I'm going off on a rant, and one of these days, I know I've talked about this a lot before, but I don't want to keep telling the same stories again and again. But no, I came out here, and I have nothing. So when somebody tells me they have a similar story, that they were able to start from nothing, and I think that's just fantastic. Tyler the engineer says, I should clarify that there's nothing wrong with legitimately asking for a review. It's wrong to bribe a certain review score, in my opinion. It is wrong. That's against the terms and conditions too. You can't do that. And so it'd be best if you said give a legitimate review. Don't just go in there and give it 5-star. Unfortunately, no screen attached to our brain. There's no screen attached to our brain. Yes. For Rahul in marketing, the app is for car enthusiasts, and has been reviewed by different car magazines, and I get traffic from those, but I get around 100 times the traffic from Google SEO and content marketing. Oh, cool. Jim Bob says, hey Eric, do you live alone these days in your nice flat? Are your kids with you because the university is closed due to Corona? Yeah, I have one kid with me, so I swap out every few weeks. But yeah, I'm not alone at the moment, but because the university is closed. Akash says, Eric, do you outsource business in India? If yes, how can I contact you? Yeah, nice one. I do, but I get contacted, at least 2 or 3 times a day, and I'm just not looking for anybody at the moment. But I appreciate that, Akash. Let's see. First off, said my first day of school was in 1994. Oh, so I'm old. I'm old. What do you want me to say? Like I'm seasoned. I'm seasoned. I'm experienced. Marandir says, my name is Eric and I teach history. Nah, that doesn't sound good. I know, that's a little thing, right? I can have like a t-shirt that said history on it. How long did you stay in that investment bank? I stayed in there for 2 years. It's funny how it was 2 years. I was so lucky to get that job. I was so lucky. I was so terrified I was going to lose it. And then but then I was like, I got my MCSD certification. Again, like it was like reading MSDN website every single day. Like everything that new was coming out, I knew it. I knew it, like the new features of IE5. IE5 came out. I remember knowing it because it supported HTML apps, right, or HTML applications. You could actually run an application on the desktop with HTML, right, which never lasted. I know with the active server controls, all that stuff, and with just knowing all that kind of stuff. And it was funny how, because other developers, you just get on with them, right, and other people just there have been people who've been very over the years have been real snobs with me about the fact that I don't have a computer science degree, and they will they treat me worse because they think even after all these years they think I'm undeserving of it, which is fine, they're allowed to their opinion, but I'm the one who produces, right? It's all well and good to say you have all the qualifications, but you got to be the person who produces and actually do the thing that needs to get done. But yeah, so it's 2 years. Practical Gamer says, "Love you, bro. Give a shout out to Mr. Gamer. Hey, Mr. Gamer, what's up?" Thanks, Practical Gamer. First of all, I don't know what capacitor is, but I do have a master's degree in computer science, and I don't give a damn about capacitor. Well, it's new. It's knowing the new kinds of stuff out there. So, and Neil says, best pizza, get some buffalo mozzarella and sauce on French bread baguette. Neil, do they have that in England? Or is that like, where, because all I know is mozzarella. I don't know what, a lot of times I'll hear about ingredients and stuff, and it's like, oh, it's from the States or from someplace else. But I'm going to have to wrap things up because now I'm talking all this pizza, I'm getting hungry. Star News says it's hard to maintain social apps regarding back-end and policies. I would imagine it is, right? You have to make sure you monetize those because a social app. I mean, I don't know because I don't have any social apps. Like I'm talking about, I should be talking about like ones you've created yourself. Like you need to have that infrastructure working in the back end, and you need to make sure you're monetizing it so you can pay for that infrastructure, and then it scales up. And Akash says I'm only working in mobile development. So I should become an expert in mobile development or also discover some more fields. I think the more niche you could be in your thing, the better. There's a reason I say my name is Eric and I make apps, and not my name is Eric and I'm a software developer. Because when I want people to think of apps, I want them to think of Eric, right? That's what it is, right? Now even then, apps as a concept is still even too broad. But at the time, I thought that was niching it down. Sure, I could do web development, I could do desktop development, I could do, my company could do all that stuff, but no, we specialize in mobile applications because when it's all about the keywords, baby, all about the SEO. Have you ever tried Lambda or Firebase plus Cloud Functions? What is your thoughts? I use Firebase Cloud Functions a lot. I've used Lambda before, but just with Node.js processes, and I think they work really well. I think no complaints. Cloud Function, especially, except Cloud Functions are very much proprietary. So at least if you use Lambda, you're going to, I don't think you need to use any custom libraries in Lambda. But anyway, so that's going to be the last question. Thank you very much, Star News. Thanks, everybody, for joining the live stream this week. I know we went on a bit long today, but you know what? I'm feeling chatty. I got the sty in my eye. I'm stuck in the house, right? I'm stuck in the flat. But I appreciate you guys showing up. I hope you have a fantastic weekend. I hope you stay healthy, stay safe. We'll do this again next week, and I'll try to get more than one video out in the next week. Have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you later.